Hello and welcome to Legacy IS Academy. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about Unified Pension Scheme. Okay? So why are we discussing about Unified Pension Scheme? Because very recently government has announced that starting 1st of April 2025, government will proceed with a Unified Pension Scheme, or the central government employees who are retiring on or before 31st of March 2025 do have the option of joining the Unified Pension Scheme. So we will be studying about the Unified Pension Scheme. We'll also be trying to compare it with the previous pension schemes that we have followed. Okay? And there was immense criticism to the pension scheme that was running previously, so we had to shift towards Unified Pension Scheme. Okay? So that is the news that it will be applicable from 1st of April 2025. Okay? Now, what are the eligibility conditions? Ki under what condition can a person enroll to get the benefits under Unified Pension Scheme? Okay? So talking about the eligibility, first eligibility is the person should have retired or must be retiring on or before 31st of March 2025. Okay? So 31st of March 2025 से पहले कभी भी if the person is a central government employee, so if they are retiring on or before 31st of March 2025, so with arrears they will be having the option of joining the Unified Pension Scheme. ठीक है? Second is, if you have to get the benefit for central government employees currently, okay, this is applicable to central government employees only. Okay? If you have to get the benefit of pension, you must serve the central government for a minimum of 10 years. Without serving for 10 consecutive years, you will not be getting the benefits of central government, the pensions under Unified Pension Scheme. Okay? So applicable for a minimum 10 years service. But full benefits you will be able to accrue. The individual who is working with central government, they will be able to get the full benefits if they have served the central government for a minimum period of 25 years. Okay? Now, after this, employees do have the choice of continuing under the new pension scheme. Okay? Or they also have the option of switching to the Unified Pension Scheme. So currently we are into the phase of new pension scheme, and from 1st of April 2025, the Unified Pension Scheme will become applicable. So an individual do have the option of continuing with the new pension scheme or switching to the Unified Pension Scheme. But because new pension scheme you do not get a short pension, so there are very high chances that majority of the people who are under new pension scheme will switch towards the Unified Pension Scheme. Okay? Plus, this will also be applicable to state government employees if the states have permitted to do so. Okay? So, if the states have agreed to join the Unified Pension Scheme, so in that case, that state government employees will also be getting the benefits of Unified Pension Scheme. But if the state government has disagreed to the Unified Pension Scheme, then they will not be getting the benefits of Unified Pension Scheme. So, ultimately, it totally depends upon the state government to decide. Okay? Now let us understand what are we getting, the benefits of Unified Pension Scheme. After we understand the benefits, we'll try to compare how good or bad this is from the previous scheme, the new pension scheme, and its previous one, that was the old pension scheme. Okay? So talking about the benefits, the first benefit is minimum pension of 10,000 per month. This is promised that if you have served for 10 years, then the central government employee will be getting a minimum pension of 10,000 per month. This was initially 9,000 per month. Matlab under new pension scheme, this was 9,000 per month, but this has been raised to 10,000 per month. Okay? Second major benefit, as we discussed, is all the benefit, full benefit will be able to, an individual will be able to gain if they have served for 25 years. So if they have served for 25 years of service, then 50% of the basic pay plus the DNS allowance. So this is just a sample salary slip of an individual who is a central government employee. This is the basic pay. Okay? And the DNS allowance is basically inflation indexed increase in salary. Okay? So basic pay plus DNS allowance ka 50%. Okay? So this is, let's say, total of basic pay and basic pay may be one very important thing, and this will change with time. This will change. Okay? So we were initially following old pension scheme, currently following new pension scheme, and switching to Unified Pension Scheme. Okay? So the benefit under unified pension scheme says that 50% of basic pay plus dearness allowance. Okay, this will be contributed as a pension amount, but this will be kept under the pension fund and can be kept used by the person post retirement. Okay, but this basic pay ka how do you calculate the basic pay? Initially under this sector, that is old pension scheme, we were calculating the last drawn basic pay. ठीक है, this plus dearness allowance का 50% will be contributed in your pension account. ठीक है, but here under the unified pension scheme we are taking an average of last 12 months. So last one full year का whatever has been your basic pay, इसका average amount will be calculated and dearness allowance will be added to this, और इसका 50% will be kept in your pension fund. ठीक है, so this is one difference. We'll study the difference separately, but this is the benefit. Okay. Next benefit is employees will be contributing. Employees contribution now will be again 10% off basic plus DA. Okay. Basic salary whatever they are getting plus 10 dearness allowance ka 10% will be allocated, will be taken from the employee salary. So that will be employees contribution. Okay. Next is the benefit. Tax benefit for this 10% contribution will be available. Okay? So employees will have to contribute 10% and you will also be getting the benefit of this contribution, tax benefit. For example, an individual salary is 90,000, let's say. So 10% of this 9,000 के आसपास, मतलब this becomes 81,000. ठीक है, you will be taxed on only 81,000 and not this 90,000 because 10% of basic plus DA is the employee's contribution to the pension account and this will not be taxed. So the individual will be facing tax benefits for this 10% being contributed. So ultimately he will not be taxed on this 90,000 but on 81,000. ठीक है. Next benefit is on the government's contribution. ठीक है. So government's contribution, when this was introduced, employees contribution as 10%, when it was introduced, it was actually introduced under the new pension scheme. That under the new pension scheme, the employee will be contributing 10% of basic plus DA. Okay? When it was introduced, so it was also promised that government will also be contributing 10%. Okay? Government, an equivalent amount, employee and government ka equivalent amount will be kept in the pension fund account. Okay? In 2019, this government's contribution was increased from 10% to 14% and from 14% under the unified pension scheme. Under the unified pension scheme, it has been now increased to 18.5%. Okay? The next benefit is the nominee. Okay? So for example, a person, I am a central government employee and post my death, my spouse, my children, my nominee will be getting 60% of the pension fund, which was 60% of the pension amount which was given to me, uska 60% will be given to the family members. Okay? So let's say I was getting 10,000 rupees per month. Okay? So 6,000 rupees will be given to my family member. Okay? Another benefit under unified pension scheme is the dearness relief. So dearness relief matlab we have allocated this 10%, 60%, 10% plus 50%, all of this will be kept in the pension fund. But apart from this, because of inflation, and we want the money that the government is giving you under pension to be inflation indexed. Okay? So in that case, some inflation indexed amount will also be given separately. This we will be calling as dearness relief. So under unified pension scheme, dearness relief will also be granted. Okay? Next thing is the lump sum payment. Lump sum payment matlab government, apart from all of this 50%, 10% plus 18%, whatever you are getting in the pension account, apart from this, for example, just 1 year before retirement, if I want to invest in something, let's say build a house, get the interiors done and all that, so just before retirement I do have the option of withdrawing from my pension fund account. Okay? So lump sum payment ke liye, what was the option in the old pension scheme? Old pension scheme mein, let's say the individual is getting 1 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees in the pension account, it is present there. Okay? And from this 5 lakh, I have withdrawn 1 lakh. So there's a significant loss here. Just before retirement, I'll be getting only 1 lakh rupee now. ठीक है, sorry 4 lakh rupees now because 1 lakh I have withdrawn 1 year before retirement, ठीक है. So this is the lump sum withdrawal and this we call as superannuation, ठीक है. अब इसमें क्या है, तो दिस वाज द केस विद ओल्ड पेंशन स्कीम कि ओल्ड पेंशन स्कीम में इफ यू आर विथड्रॉइंग 1 year बिफोर योर रिटायरमेंट यू कैन कैरी आउट, बट दैट डिड्यूस्ड अमाउंट विल बी हैंडेड ओवर टू यू पोस्ट योर रिटायरमेंट, ठीक है. बट अंडर योर यूनिफाइड पेंशन स्कीम व्हाट इज द ऑप्शन कि एवरी 6 months ऑफ सर्विस, एवरी 6 months ऑफ सर्विस में 10% of basic plus DA will be kept aside. Again 6 months completed, 10% of basic plus DA kept aside. Again 6 months completed, 10% of basic plus DA kept aside. And all of these amounts will be kept as the lump sum amount. If you want, you can withdraw this lump sum amount anytime. Okay? So this is about the benefits of unified pension scheme. Now let us try to compare the old pension scheme to the new pension scheme to the unified pension scheme. Okay? So as we discussed, unified pension scheme में 25 years of benefit, 25 years of service. मतलब if you have to get the benefits, you will have to serve the central government for 25 years. But 25 years के बाद भी unified pension scheme says that 50% of average of 12 months, this will be part of your basic pay, ठीक है, plus your DA, ठीक है. Basic pay plus DA का 50% will be provided in unified pension scheme. But बेसिक पे में भी इसका कैलकुलेशन करना कि व्हाट इज द बेसिक पे, इसके लिए वी आर करेंटली अंडर द व्हाट वी हैव प्रपोज्ड यूनिफाइड पेंशन स्कीम व्हिच विल बिकम एप्लीकेबल फ्रॉम 1st of April 2025. वहां से जो बेसिक पे का कैलकुलेशन होगा, दिस विल बी द एवरेज सैलरी ऑफ पास्ट 12 months. फॉर एग्जांपल, एन इंडिविजुअल हैज बीन प्रमोटेड इन 7 months लेफ्ट फॉर रिटायरमेंट, ठीक है. So 7 months left for retirement, uska last 12 months ka average will be quite low. But in old pension scheme, it was 50% of the last drawn salary. This was the basic pay plus DA, iska 50%, ठीक है. और basic pay का calculation was last drawn salary. So 7th month में भी अगर retirement हो रहा है, ठीक है, तो भी उस इंसान का last जो drawn salary होगा उसी का वही बेसिक पे कंसीडर कर लिया जाएगा. So that means old pension scheme was much better as compared to the unified pension scheme. Unified pension scheme में relatively lesser amount will be granted. ठीक है. Now the second difference, और new pension scheme में ये कुछ भी fixed नहीं था, ठीक है. New pension scheme was the one which was most criticized. जो ये चल रहा था ना, ये up to 2004 की बात है. This was running up to 2004. हाँ, this was running up to 2004, ठीक है. 2004 से लेकर के अभी भी यही चल रहा है, 2025 तक यही चलेगा. एंड फ्रॉम 2025 दिस विल बी रनिंग, ठीक है. सो ये जो पीरियड था ना, ये बहुत ज्यादा क्रिटिसाइज था. जो भी ज्वाइन कर रहे थे आफ्टर 1st January 2004, उनको ऑटोमेटिकली न्यू पेंशन स्कीम में डाल दिया जा रहा था. और न्यू पेंशन स्कीम में देयर वाज नो अश्योर्ड पेंशन, ठीक है. Ultimately the amount of money that was given in new pension scheme was very very low as compared to its predecessor, also as compared to its successor also, ठीक है. Now again comparing the old pension scheme to the unified pension scheme, कि employee का contribution 0 था, ठीक है. There was no money which was being contributed by the employee. A huge chunk was being given by the government, ठीक है. But इसमें इसकी बात की जाए तो 10% यूनिफाइड पेंशन स्कीम में, as we discussed, 10% will be the contribution from employee. So 10% of what? Basic salary plus dearness allowance, ठीक है. This will be the contribution from employee. Equal amount was being contributed by the government in new pension scheme, ठीक है. 10% by employee, 10% by government, ये बराबर बराबर होता था. और इसमें कुछ भी नहीं होता था, nothing from employee and everything was coming from government only, ठीक है. इसको बढ़ा करके ये 10% by employee, 10% by government था. यूनिफाइड पेंशन स्कीम में इसको बढ़ा दिया गया. 10% by employee is constant. By government, the contribution was increased in 2019 to 14%, and under unified pension scheme starting 2025, this has been increased to 18.5%. ठीक है. Then coming to the third difference, that is no tax benefit, because there was zero contribution by employee, so employee was not getting any tax benefits also, ठीक है. But as in when, मतलब here if we are talking about the 10% contribution by employee, so this employee will be getting benefit for the 10% that they are contributing. So they will not be taxed for the amount that they are contributing to the pension fund. ठीक है? Next is the lump sum payment. ठीक है? Lump sum payment will actually reduce the final pension that you are getting. So इसमें भी आप ही के pension account से new unified pension scheme may be from your pension account only money is being withdrawn, but suddenly there will be no reduction. ठीक है? Over a period of time, as we discussed, every 6 months में 10% of basic plus DA, 10% of basic plus DA, 10% of basic plus DA, ये हर 6 महीने पर अलग करते रहा जाएगा. In every 6 months, this amount will be kept separately, and this amount can be withdrawn as a lump sum amount. And earlier in old pension scheme, this lump sum payment was reducing the final pension amount. ठीक है? Now under the new pension scheme, what was the option कि ये जो 10% employee का contribution plus 10% government का contribution है, this will be kept in your pension fund account. ठीक है? और ये this amount, this employee did have the option of choosing कि I want to invest in SBI, नहीं ICICI ज़्यादा बढ़िया काम कर रहा है, so I will invest this pension money in ICICI or in LIC or in Kotak Mahindra or wherever you want. The employee did have the option of deciding that I want to invest my pension amount to such and such sector, but you cannot keep it, you cannot hold it. ठीक है? You will have to invest this. इसमें government ही mostly invest कर लेती है. यहाँ पे employee के पास ये option था कि employee did have the option of deciding where do I want to invest. ठीक है? So this is a comparison of old pension scheme versus new pension scheme versus the unified pension scheme. ठीक है? So with that we come to the end of this topic. It's a very important thing because the new pension scheme was being criticized significantly for several reasons. उसमें family pension नहीं मिल रहा था, for example जो अभी unified pension में 60% promise किया गया है. Assured pension नहीं मिल रहा था जो कि 50% of basic plus DA दिया जा रहा था. So there were so many areas wherein there was lacuna in new pension scheme. ठीक है? And employee के पास option भी नहीं था. They were having the option of automatically they will get enrolled into new pension scheme. ठीक है? Now they do have the option कि आप चाहिए तो new pension scheme के साथ continue कर जाइए या फिर unified pension scheme पे switch कर जाइए. ठीक है? But we do not have the option of going back to the old pension scheme. We can either continue with the new pension scheme or shift towards the unified pension scheme. ठीक है? If you have any doubt in this topic, please do let us know in the comment section. Thank you so much and all the best.